This is my first time vlogging. It's weird. I'm going to New York. This is Larissa. Hi. Larissa takes the bus and the red line to work, and I'm gonna take that path with them to get to South Station to catch my train. So it worked out. We could commute together. This view of the Charles River on the Red Line is one of my absolute favorites. Before I got on the Amtrak, I stopped at Finn Coffee House near South Station. This is one of my favorite coffee shops in the city. The train goes through Rhode Island and Connecticut to get to New York, and I always love the views facing east out toward the ocean. On this trip, I edited some of my first book and wrote some more of my second. I also did some reading and I watched Severance. Here I am, I made it! I stayed with my brilliantly talented friend Jenna. We went and saw Operation Mincemeat together. And we met Tosh after the show, very exciting. Before the conference began, I took some time to do some writing and reading and got ready for my day. The conference began and I learned so much. That day I also saw Maybe Happy Ending and Drag the Musical, and I got to meet the amazing Jujubee, which is so cool. Off I go to meet with agents for the first time. I am currently on my way to the agent meeting. I'm very excited. I'm listening to Operation Mincemeat because I've been obsessed since seeing it Friday night, and wish me the best of luck. I'm very excited. I will check in with you after it's over. Bye. On the last day, I had coffee with my friend Sabina, and then I said goodbye to New York. Hello. It has been almost 2 weeks since I actually went on this New York trip to go to a writing conference. My first time going to a writing conference. The actual conference part was virtual, but what I attended in person was a manuscript pitching event with 2 agents who specialized in fantasy and sci-fi, and about 7 writers, including myself, where we got to share with them our query letter and first 2 pages. We received feedback right then and there, which was really helpful. It was really great. I'm really glad I did it. So I left on Friday, February 28th. I left from Boston and went to New York. I stayed with my friend Jenna, and the first day of the conference, I did the Zoom presentations. I learned about how to craft suspense in your narrative. It was mostly geared toward mystery and thriller writers, but it applies to any genre, and that was really interesting. I learned about how to market, which is not really a stage I'm in yet, will be kind of after I have an agent, and the query Q&A, which addressed some details I didn't know about the querying process and some advice from agents, which was really helpful. But the big thing was Sunday. What I learned personally was that I think my query letter is in a good place. I tweaked it a little bit from the feedback I got, but I left feeling pretty confident that it's doing its job. I'm a little more nervous about the pages because there was only so much feedback they could give us on only our first 2 pages. Usually an agent is going to be looking at the first 10, and only 2 didn't tell me a whole lot, but they didn't say anything was glaringly wrong or bad either. So what was also great is I got the email of one of the agents as opposed to like her usual online portal, and I sent her an official query and I'm waiting to hear back. And best case scenario, she asked to read the full manuscript, which would be that next step that I'm really hoping for. And if not, I am definitely going to ask her like why. If she doesn't request to read the full book from reading my first 10 pages, I would really love to hear what I can do, or if it's seriously just personal. I've sent about 22 queries and haven't gotten any manuscript requests yet, but I've been searching online for other people's experiences with querying, and it's tough because some people are like, if you don't get a manuscript request from your first 10, then you're doing something wrong. But then I've heard people say, I sent 80 and the 80th was my only full manuscript request, and that was the one that got me signed. So I'm trying to keep out hope that even if I'm not hearing back right away, that I will eventually. And I'm hopeful about hearing back from this agent, but I have paused my other query submissions for now because I want to hear feedback before I continue. What's exciting is that in the meantime of pausing these queries, I have been engaging with one of my other passions, which is theater. So one of the unexpected, which really should have been expected, parts of going to New York this trip was that I saw a bunch of shows. I love theater. I grew up doing it, seeing it. My parents are actors. I love theater, especially musical theater. And on the first night I was in New York, my friend Jenna took me to see Operation Mincemeat. This show, it is very amazingly signed, especially by Natasha Hodgson, who I will likely talk more about because she is now my idol because she not only was one of the leads in the show. Well, it's a 5-person cast, so they're all, sharing the attention, but I feel like she especially was kind of the lead. And context, this is a show about British spies during World War II who are tasked with duping the Nazis into believing that the British troops are somewhere they are not, to get Nazi troops out of Sicily and to avoid a massacre, as they say. And what's amazing about this show is that all the characters are gender bent in some way or another. All 5 actors play different gendered characters. Natasha plays Ewan Montague, who is kind of the jerk guy of the team who thinks he's the hero, but he's constantly making mistakes and don't worry about it. And this has quickly become a dream role for me. So I wasn't going to do this, but there are non-union auditions in Boston called the BATA auditions, Boston Area Theater auditions. And I wasn't going to do them, but I ended up signing up because I really wanted to put together an audition of one of the songs from the show, just to do for fun. And it kind of got me back on this track of wanting to audition again. So there's a theater company called Moonbox in Boston. They do a new works series in the summer, so I'm working on some auditions for that. So while the queries have been paused, I am back to my audition grind, which is a very similar process and set of feelings to querying, which I don't know if I've said on here, but I feel like having audition experience really prepared me for the rejection of querying, and I kind of had put it to the side for the past year or so to focus on writing. But while my writing is kind of in a pause state and I'm feeling really inspired from the theater I saw in New York. I am auditioning again. I guess I can update you with how that goes, but it's mostly for fun. I'm working on fun things for these auditions, so the process itself is worth it. But I would love to do theater professionally. I've kind of been digging around for how to get started as a non-union actor in Boston these past 2 years, been mostly unsuccessful. I've done a couple of film projects and a really small theater things here and there, but I really want to do a non-union show and potentially get an equity card down the road, but we shall see. And the last thing I'll say is that being really inspired by the writers of Operation Mincemeat, it is one of my dreams to write and be in an original musical. And so that's what 3 of them did. And, you know, they started as a scrappy group of fringe writers and performers in London, and now they're on Broadway, and they were on the West End. And so that's just kind of lit a fire under me of these other dreams that I have, and so I'm revisiting them. I do have a musical idea in my back pocket that I might be returning to. It is about drag kings. But yeah, this trip to New York, though it was, again, like 2 weeks ago now, was really good for me. It made me feel very proud of the work I've done as a writer and has inspired me to jump back into my acting. Also, I know I was really bad about filming for this. I'm very new at filming my experiences, so it usually felt very weird to be like, hey! So I did it when I could, and I hope this has ended up being a sensical video. But thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.